the store, came here to the gas station. He went. It's on his live. All the evidence is on this boy's live. He said, "Oh, I got him now. I'm gonna pull up now and jump out." He jumped off the car. He was recording him with his phone. Walked up to our car, and then we was bagging out. We pulled over right here. And it should be on their cameras too, so you'll see.
I'm happy that
Tiffany Henyard, the so-called super mayor, has finally turned herself in after a shocking FBI raid uncovered her hidden secret. She had been living a lavish lifestyle while her town sank into debt. Now, her taxpayer-funded high-rolling, jet-setting days are coming to a crashing halt, and she could be facing up to 25 years in prison. This is the scandal that's set to blow the lid off everything. The once seemingly untouchable former mayor of South Chicago, Tiffany Henyard, is now looking at 22 federal charges. These aren't just your everyday corruption charges. These involve millions of dollars in taxpayer funds that were allegedly mismanaged and completely concealed. The FBI had their eyes on her for months, and after subpoenas and secretive whispers, they finally took action. But what makes this sting even more is that this isn't Henyard's first brush with the law. She's already been convicted of vehicle trespassing in the past. While her city crumbled, Henyard was cruising around in a taxpayer-funded motorcade, flaunting her power as if the town's finances were her personal piggy bank, caring little for the people of Dolton, Illinois. It's as if the town's well-being was a distant afterthought for her. In just 1 year, Henyard managed to transform Dolton's reserves into her own personal slush fund. How does a municipality go from financially stable to utterly broke in just 365 days? 2 words: Mayor Moneybags. Tiffany Henyard wasn't just living large, she was living extravagantly on the town's dime. Imagine a small-town mayor with big city ambitions and an insatiable appetite for luxury. While the citizens of Dolton were struggling to make ends meet, their fearless leader was out here acting like she had hit the jackpot. Picture this: a $7,700 shopping spree at Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair all on a single day, September 1st, 2023. This wasn't just retail therapy, it was an all-out shopping assault. And who was paying for all this? You guessed it, the hardworking taxpayers of Dolton. But Mayor Henyard wasn't about to fly coach like the rest of us. No, she was living that first-class life. And why stop there? She even hired a professional hair and makeup team because, apparently, running a town into the ground requires looking fabulous 24/7. Now, you might be asking yourself, how bad could it really get? Well, in just one term, Henyard's administration racked up over $112,000 in travel expenses alone. Dolton went from enjoying a nice $5.6 million surplus to being $3.6 million in the red within a single year. While the town was going broke faster than a contestant on a spending spree game show, Henyard was living the high life as if starring in her own version of Real Housewives of Illinois. Things got so bad that officials had to ban Henyard from using village credit cards for unapproved purchases. Imagine being the mayor and essentially getting your spending privileges cut off. And just when you thought her spree was over, we're about to take a detour down Mama Henyard's driveway. And let me tell you, it's paved with more than just good intentions. Turns out, Henyard wasn't just treating herself, she was spreading the wealth to her family too. And by wealth, I mean a hefty chunk of taxpayer money. We're talking about $561,000 spent on repaving her mother's driveway. You read that right, over $500,000 for one driveway. But Henyard didn't stop at family renovations. Oh no, she decided the town's police force would make a great personal security team. Why have cops patrolling the streets when the mayor needs chauffeuring around town? While the residents of Dolton wondered where all the police officers went, Henyard had them running personal errands, treating them like her own task force. One former police chief even spilled the tea on this whole setup.
32 has information indicating the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Henyard has been living as if she had her own private staff, refusing to let a little thing like regulations put a stop to her party. Even after having her plastic privileges taken away, the rest of Dolton was left wondering if there was anyone left to answer a 911 call. Despite being removed by the Illinois State Comptroller for her over-the-top spending, Henyard seemed to believe that being mayor meant ruling her own personal kingdom. Still, Henyard went on to spend $50,000 for just 1 hour of acts throwing to host a massive party for the suburban town. If that wasn't outrageous enough, she also dropped $3,600 on sound systems. staffing, equipment, comedians, and even $6,600 on bounce houses. Meanwhile, the town's residents, like Jennifer Roberts, were furious, declaring, "That's my money, that's the people's money." Former trustees Kiki Wyatt and Jay Halliday each pocketed a cool $30,000 and $20,000 respectively for just 30-minute performances, yet only about 70 people attended the event. Valeria Stubbs didn't hold back either, calling the event a complete disaster. She stated bluntly, "She uses our tax money to promote herself." Another resident, Sherry Britton, agreed that Henyard wasn't going to give up easily. While everyone was focused on the FBI and angry taxpayers, they overlooked the real twist in the story. Tiffany, being the narcissist she is, did whatever she pleased until they put her in cuffs. Remember that quiet assistant who was always following Henyard around? Turns out, she was the one holding the matches that would eventually set everything ablaze. This is Carmen Kell, Henyard's former right-hand woman. Kell was Henyard's most trusted confidante, and naturally, she knew where all the skeletons were hidden. But something snapped in her. Whether it was guilt or just being fed up with watching Dolton get bled dry, Kell decided it was time to sing like a bird. This woman went from running errands to blowing the lid off her ex-boss's entire operation. For 2 years, Kell had a front row seat to all of Henyard's antics, and let me tell you, she saw enough to make anyone's head spin. She went straight to the feds with a mountain of receipts taller than Henyard's ego. She spilled all the details about how Henyard had been treating Dolton like her personal ATM. Kell revealed how Henyard manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, all while flashing that million-dollar smile for the cameras. In Kell's own words, for the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to gain influence, all while maintaining a false image of success, funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dolton. And once Kell started talking, the whole house of cards began to crumble. She was physically attacked. And I'm not talking about a harsh tweet or some nasty rumors. This was an actual assault. Now, no one is directly pointing fingers, but word around town suggests Henyard may have had a hand in it. Kara wasn't the only one abandoning ship, though. Remember Keith Freeman, Henyard's former aide? Well, he's also in hot water, facing charges for bankruptcy fraud. But here's the kicker. Rumor has it he's singing like a canary to the FBI too. Henyard has a reputation for intimidating trustees, silencing anyone who dares to expose her shady dealings. And when firing them didn't shut them up, she used taxpayer dollars to ensure she stayed in the limelight. Literally, her face is plastered everywhere, from billboards to government buildings, like something out of a dystopian nightmare. Even worse, survivors of her misdeeds have finally begun stepping forward, sharing heartbreaking stories of financial ruin and intimidation. This isn't just a case of a corrupt mayor. Henyard is a woman who has completely turned an entire community upside down. Just when she thought she dodged a bullet, she found herself in the crosshairs of a much bigger weapon. The FBI doesn't mess around with small sums of money, so how much are we really talking about here? Word has it the feds are taking a deep dive into Henyard's finances, and they aren't playing games. They're issuing subpoenas for everything, from personnel records to credit card statements. When the FBI started combing through Dolton's town hall, the drama kicked into high gear. They definitely weren't there for a friendly chat, that much is certain. No, they came armed with legal documents, ready to trace every single penny Henyard may have misplaced. These subpoenas are exposing every angle of Henyard's lavish lifestyle, from those extravagant vacations she took to the security detail that followed her around like she was a Kardashian, and every single dollar that might have slipped from the town's coffers into her designer handbags. And it's not just Henyard's official business under the microscope. The FBI is also digging into her personal life. They're scrutinizing her political action committee, wanting to see the books she writes, which she takes so much pride in. Her cancer charity and private business ventures are also under the microscope, as the feds seem determined to piece together her financial situation. And they don't like the picture they're seeing. Brittany Norwood revealed that the town has been begging for help. And finally, the FBI has stepped in. She stated, "We've been asking for someone to come out here and save us. There's been a lot of spending we're not privy to, and we've been demanding answers." But it's not just Henyard who has caught the feds' interest. They're casting a wide net, roping in her political allies and anyone else who may have dipped into the town's funds. Word has it the FBI is using some high-tech methods, employing electronic surveillance to catch any shady dealings Henyard and her crew might be involved in. All this is happening, yet Henyard is still comfortably sitting in her mayor's seat. Can you believe it? The feds are closing in. The town is in an uproar, and she's pretending like it's just another day at the office. People in Dolton are getting increasingly anxious, wondering why things seem to be moving at a snail's pace. The town's residents have had enough. They've been watching their community go down the drain while Henyard lives like she's starring in a reality show. And just when everyone thought she was going to keep up the fight, she pulled the ultimate reverse card. Picture this: the FBI is closing in, her inner circle is crumbling, and suddenly she decides to turn herself in. What would make a small-town mayor with a taste for luxury trade it all for a jail cell? Yes, Tiffany allegedly just walked right into the FBI's hands. Can you believe it? One moment she's acting like everything is fine, and the next, she's turning herself in like it's no big deal. There are whispers that Henyard has a plan. Some say she's trying to strike a deal with the federal government, offering up information on her criminal partners in exchange for a lighter sentence. But Henyard's surrender isn't just about her. The entire town of Dolton has been waiting for this moment, holding its breath to see if justice would be served. Henyard was all about the glamorous lifestyle, and now it seems she's traded her designer clothes for a jumpsuit, a far cry from the first-class flights and personal makeup artist she once enjoyed. And if that wasn't enough, her own lawyer just quit, leaving her unable to cover her legal bills. It's ironic, considering she makes over $220,000 a year. How did someone like her end up in this position? To grasp the extent of her twisted control, let's not forget how she inherited her lucrative township supervisor position with its hefty salary. She even tried to rig the system by passing a questionable ordinance to reduce the next supervisor's salary to just $25,000, discouraging anyone from challenging her. Residents have been holding protests, calling for justice for years, and now their outrage has reached a boiling point. Things have gotten so bad that they've hired Lori Lightfoot to help clean up the mess, paying her $400 an hour. Just think about how dire the situation must be for people to take such extreme measures. The former mayor of Chicago has been brought in to try to salvage the crumbling situation in Dolton. The residents are desperate for someone to step in and save them from this mess. And let's not forget those missing millions. Just because Henyard may have turned herself in doesn't mean that the money will suddenly reappear. The town remains in financial turmoil, and people are questioning if they'll ever see a cent of that cash again. Henyard's lavish spending and blatant disregard for the law didn't go unnoticed for long. Some Dolton residents are actually feeling a sense of relief now that the mayor, who once blew $440,000 on Amazon in a single day, is under federal investigation. Even the Illinois State Comptroller stopped sending the town $135,000 in much-needed funds. If you think Henyard's issues are limited to financial scandals, think again. She's also facing a lawsuit from a former employee, Dwayne Trash, who claims he was fired for refusing to participate in one of Henyard's schemes. It's as if the entire town has been living under a dark cloud and is finally catching a glimpse of sunshine. Her reputation was further damaged by allegations of sexual misconduct on city trips, wrongful terminations, and even sexual assault against staff members. But things get murkier from here. Henyard's downfall isn't just about money, it's a tangled web of uncertainty, manipulation, and the ongoing question of whether she truly turned herself in. While some are convinced that the former Dolton mayor has surrendered to the authorities, others believe she's still pulling the strings behind the scenes, playing the system to her advantage. Rumors are swirling about her motives. Is she holding out for a deal, trying to negotiate a bargain to protect herself or someone higher up? Or is she simply stalling, hoping to escape the full consequences of her actions? These doubts have fueled widespread frustration, leaving many wondering why Henyard isn't already locked up. Why isn't this woman in jail? They ask. How is she still mayor after everything that's come to light? Why hasn't she been held accountable? This is the question that's echoing throughout the town as Henyard's fate hangs in the balance. As the investigation drags on, such concerns are growing louder and more frequent. For a long time, Dolton was engulfed in corruption, with Henyard at the helm, draining the town's resources and trust. But now, with her downfall seemingly imminent, a new sense of hope is beginning to emerge. There's a collective feeling that Dolton might finally be able to heal and move forward. The community is cautiously optimistic, daring to believe that the Queen of Corruption may have exited the stage for good, and that perhaps the town can start rebuilding what was lost. Yet, even with Henyard's apparent fall from power, the future remains uncertain. She's not backing down easily, and despite everything, she continues to fight. Whether through legal maneuvering or other tactics, she's holding on to her influence, refusing to bow out quietly. This refusal to step aside keeps Dolton in a state of limbo. The big question now is, what's next for the town? With their mayor facing criminal charges and the town's finances in ruins, the path forward is unclear. Dolton is left grappling with the aftermath of Henyard's reign, trying to recover from years of corruption while simultaneously dealing with the immediate crisis at hand. There is cautious optimism, but also anxiety about what the future holds. Could Henyard's lingering influence continue to cause issues, even from behind bars? Will the town be able to rebuild its finances and regain trust in its local leadership? These are the questions weighing heavily on the minds of Dolton's residents as they await the next chapter in this unfolding drama. One thing is certain, Henyard's fight isn't over yet, and the road to justice, recovery, and healing for Dolton is just beginning. With the town's leadership in flux and its bank accounts drained, the journey ahead will be difficult, but for the first time in a long time, there's hope that the town can rise from the ashes of corruption and start anew. Stay tuned for more updates on this ongoing saga. Henyard's story is far from over, and the battle for Dolton's future is just heating up. Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to catch our next video, where we'll dive deeper into what lies ahead for this embattled town and its controversial former mayor.